Right, Space Cadets, welcome to the 25 o'clock show, Music for Lerts. Now, the government is currently advising certain UK citizens to stay alert. But how do you become alert? And perhaps more importantly, what sort of music should you be listening to? Join me, Grand Master Lert, the Velvet Curtain, in my voyages across the tooniverse, in search of astounding sounds and amazing music, both new and old. Along the way, we'll pick up expert golfing tips from second to last man on the moon, Apollo 17 astronaut and renowned lunar golfer, the late Alan Shepard. We'll also meet local superhero, the Winged Armchair, and with the assistance of Lothar and the Hand People, learn how to both go out and stay in at the same time. Now, what's good?
Life's like me and a soda, and life's like space without room, and life's like bacon and ice cream. That's what life's like without you. Life's like forever becoming, but life's forever dealing in hurt. Now life's like death without living. That's what life's like without you. Life's like Sanskrit read to a pony. I see you in my mind's eye, strangling on your tongue. What good is knowing such devotion? I've been around, I know what makes things run. What good is seeing eye chocolate? What good's a computerized nose? And what good is cancer in April? Why, no good. No good at all. Without killing. What good is rain that falls up? What good's a disease that won't hurt you? Why, no good, I guess, no good at all. What good are these thoughts that I'm thinking? It must be better not to be thinking at all. A styrofoam lover with emotions of concrete. No, not much at all. What good is life without living? What good's this lion that barks? You love the life of this throwaway nightly. It's not fair, not fair at all. What's good? Oh baby, what's good? What's good? What's good? Not much at all. Hey baby, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Not much at all. What's good? What's good? What's good? Life's good. Life's good. Life's good. What's good? Life's good. But not fair at all.
And that was the late but still chipper Lou Reed from his 1992 album Magic and Loss, a track called What's Good. Engaged in his usual trick of setting a really catchy pop tune against some, well, really quite seemingly depressing types of lyrics. I wonder what he'd make of today's situation. No more waiting for your man or walking on the wild side. Still, I think he is right. Life is good, but not fair at all. Let's have a listen now to another rock and roll poet who likes to dress in black and wear shades at night. It's only John Cooper Clarke.
The bloody cop's a bloody king, bloody keep it bloody clean, bloody chief's a bloody swine, bloody draws the bloody line, a bloody fun and bloody games, a bloody kids in bloody blame, nowhere to be bloody found, anywhere in chicken sound. The bloody scene is bloody sad. The bloody news is bloody bad. The bloody weed is bloody turf. The bloody speed is bloody surf. Bloody folks are bloody daft. Don't make me bloody laugh. Bloody hurts to look around. Everywhere in Chicken Town. Bloody train is bloody late. You're bloody way, you're bloody way. Bloody lost and bloody found. Stuck in fucking Chicken Town. The bloody view is bloody vile, bloody mouth and bloody mouth, bloody babies bloody cry, bloody flowers bloody die, bloody food is bloody muck, bloody drains are bloody fuck, colour scheme is bloody brown, evidently Chicken Town. The bloody pubs are bloody dull, the bloody clubs are bloody full, the bloody girls and bloody guys, the bloody murder in their eyes, the bloody bloke got bloody stabbed, waiting for the bloody cab, bloody stay at bloody home, bloody neighbour bloody moan, keep the bloody racket down, this is bloody Chicken Town. The bloody pies are bloody old, the bloody chips are bloody gold, bloody beer is bloody flat, the bloody flats are bloody rats, the bloody clocks are bloody wrong, bloody days are bloody long, bloody gets you bloody down, evidently Chicken Town. The bloody train is bloody late, the bloody waiting bloody wait, bloody lost and bloody found, up in fucking Chicken Town.
And there he was, potty-mouthed punk poet laureate John Cooper Clarke with his track Chicken Town. And coming up now, it's a track by the Psychedelic Furs. You may or may not remember the Psychedelic Furs, a band that were around in the 1980s. Richard Butler was the lead singer. I used to like this band, and so did David Bowie, so that's probably okay by me. Must play some more Bowie, actually. Keep on forgetting to do that. Anyway, this track's called Pretty in Pink. Isn't she?
In the place in the side of our lives where nothing is ever put straight. She
you have the time?
The time is
25 o'clock!
Excellent.
I love that track, I haven't heard it for years. That's Pretty in Pink by the Psychedelic Furs. Puts me in mind of a kind of cooler, slightly more druggy version of Born to Run. What could be more cool than the boss, I hear you say? Well, perhaps I don't hear you say that. Actually, one or two things can be. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. They say blue and green should never be seen, but I can't see why they shouldn't be heard, and neither could Joni Mitchell. So I'm going to play now her track Little Green from our album Blue. Confusing, isn't it? It could have been R.E.M. from their album Green, a track called Little Blue, but it's not.
Born with the moon in Cancer, choose her a name she will answer to. Call her green, and the winters cannot fade her. Call her green for the children who've made her little green. Be a gypsy dancer. He went to California, hearing that everything's warmer there. So you write him a letter and say her eyes are blue. He sends you a poem and she's lost to you. Little green, he's a non-conformer, just a little green, like the color when the spring is born. There'll be crocuses to bring to school tomorrow, just a little green, like the nights when the northern lights perform. There'll be icicles and birthday clothes, and sometimes there'll be sorrow. Child with a child pretending, weary of lies you are sending home. So you sign all the papers in the family name. You're sad and you're sorry, but you're not ashamed. A little green, have a happy ending. Just a little green, like the color when the spring is born. There'll be crocuses to bring to school tomorrow, just a little green, like the nights when the northern lights perform. There'll be icicles and birthday clothes, and sometimes there'll be sorrow.
Love me till all night long. Well, my mama love me till all night long. I was judging long, I was boogieing around. Yeah. One night I was laying down, I heard Mama and Papa talking. Papa tell Mama, little boy boogie, gotta come out. I'm bad so good. Gonna boogie just the same. Went to the town. I was walking down Hastings Street. Everybody was talking about getting the swing club. I thought I'd drop in there tonight. When I got there, the young people, they really had a ball. Yeah. Then I hollered. Boogie children. Boogie children. Hey. Call me the boogeyman. I am the boogeyman. Nobody do the boogie like the boogeyman. Nobody do the boogie like the boogeyman. Boogie all night, boogie all day. Hey, baby. Na the boogie. Na the boogie. Shake it, baby. Shake it. Now shake it, baby. Now baby, shake it. Shake the boogie. Shake the boogie. Well, doing the boogie. I'm the boogie man. I'm the boogie man. I'm the boogie man. I'm the boogie man, boogie man. Boogie man, boogie man, boogie man. Well. I'm the boogie man. Nobody can do the boogie like the boogie man. Nobody do the boogie like the boogie man. Boogie all night, all day too. I'm the boogie man.
So I told you earlier on, for the good of the nation, I'd be setting up a hotline to explain all of your questions about, how to be alert, how to become alert, and how to stay alert. The Lert hotline. And here's our first caller. There's no phone in here, but we have got a bell. Hello, Lert Advice Line, Velvet Curtain speaking. The Velvet Curtain.
Is that the Staying Alert Advice Line?
Yes, and who am I speaking to?
The Winged Armchair, of course. Sure you recognise my voice.
The Winged Armchair?
Yes, the Winged Armchair, local superhero and Capes Crusader.
Local superhero? And do you have a question?
Indeed I do. I've been having some difficulty fighting crime from home, and I know the government has recommended that if you can travel safely to work without using public transport, you should. So my first question is about flying.
Well, the restrictions on air travel remain in place unless you're rich or French and disagree with rules.
No, I don't mean by plane. I mean personal flight to crime or rescue locations in the normal manner of winged superheroes.
Well, that sounds like a very good method of travel, as long as you observe correct social distancing rules when you're fighting the actual crime. And do you fly using a suit like Iron Man, or do you have superpowers that include flying?
Neither as such. I merely meant I should develop those powers.
So how do you usually get to crime scenes?
While I walk or cycle.
Well, that's very good. Walking and cycling are both recommended by the government.
It's mainly walking or bus since my bike got stolen.
Your bike got stolen. What sort of crimes do you usually fight?
Littering mainly, and horse riders who refuse to collect their horse droppings and dispose of them properly in bags. They can become very angry.
Yeah, I can see they might.
And this brings me to my next question, which is about masks.
Go on.
I see in my role as the Winged Armchair, it's important that I keep my identity secret. So of course I already wear a mask, but my question is, will it provide adequate protection against the virus?
It's quite difficult without seeing the mask. Can you describe it?
Yes, it's an upside-down colander placed on top of a tea towel with eye holes cut in it.
I'm not sure if that will provide full protection, but it's a start. It may serve to conceal your identity from irate horse riders, and the colander can give your head some protection from riding crops. Well, I hope that's been of some help.
It's been about as much help as the government. What did you say your name was?
The Velvet Curtain.
That's a ridiculous name. Your radio show is rubbish. Play some Mantovani, why don't you? 100 geckos? Are you a horse rider, bastards? Play some Bill Collins. I have to know you actually pay out good money to do this show, and that you could be donated to charity, or to help our...
He seems to put the phone down on himself. Rude. I'm definitely not returning his bike now. Still, you're not my grandfather used to say. Get out of my way. Anyway, going to play a track now by Henry Mancini. You know the bloke who did the Pink Panther theme? Of course you do. Ba-dum-da-dum. Bit of a classic. He also did other stuff, including this one, which is very different. It's called Experiment in Terror. And so, you're listening to the 25 o'clock show, Music for Lerts, with me. That was Henry Mancini going all spooky with a classic walking bass line there. Experiment in Terror. Very enjoyable. I'm going to play a track by 100 Gex now. It's called Ringtone. It's a remix, and I'll tell you about it afterwards.
When he calls me, I go crazy. Call me with my friends, it doesn't faze me. Windows down, riding in the SUV, and I'm smelling champagne all on my screen, screaming. Glasses screeching, 100 miles per hour. You like me cause I'm wild, camera phone in the shower. Ring, ring, gonna let it ring out. Sounds so good when I turn it up loud. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know.
AKB, AAC, your ringtone could be anything. A barking dog, revved engine, whatever catches your attention. It's your choice. Would you like to hear my voice, or is it hard to talk when you're scared of where the call is coming from?
My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I answer.
I might be addicted to your kisses. Love struck, baby. You're the piece I'm missing. I know you're what I'm looking for, and I'm so tired of wishing we can do it now or later. It don't make a difference. Send me a text, says see you when you get here. I was lonely last week, but I won't be next year. Kiss me on my left cheek, love me like my bestie. On the phone with Ashley, run shit like an athlete. We be at the games, yeah, but we never play them. He could be in danger, I still wouldn't save him. I be in the front like Rudolph the reindeer. I can tell you got a crush, that's the reason why you came here. You ain't gotta lie, just be honest with yourself. You wouldn't be here if it was for anyone else. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone, and when he calls me, I don't come home.
Throw away my phone, hide it somewhere no one knows. Buried it in the ground so it can never be found. But I still hear it, I hear the sound of your ringtone. Had to cry, why can't I get you out of my mind?
My boy's good. Wait, Charlie, can you sing the chorus again, please?
My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I answer. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I answer.
That's 100 Gex, a band recommended to me by a splendid young man called Tom, who, when he's not training up to be a civil engineer, or at least he will be when he goes to university, if they ever open them up again, spends a lot of his time being a volunteer and helping people out in the community. What a good man. I enjoyed that. He also recommended a band called Car Seat Headrest, a track called Beats Life in Death. Also good. Having said that, he also recommended this. So that's probably enough of that on this show, at least. That's a band called Mersbow with a track called Woodpecker Number 1. Different only from Woodpecker Number 2, in that it's only half the length of Woodpecker Number 2. Check it out if you like the sound of a cat having its innards pulled out from the inside and backwards through its bottom, as I do. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. We'll get back to those bands later. In the meantime, let's hear...
When our action cause reaction, of I love in one heart.
The 25 o'clock show changes like the British weather. So, if you don't like what you're hearing, stick around for a minute and something else will soon be along.
And that was Bad Brains with Reignition, and this is Colonel Elliot and the Lunatics with Cosmic Bust. Check this one out.
Once I had a hawk and a pretty grey hawk. Oh, a sweet pretty bird of my own. But she took a flight, she flew away quite, and there's nobody knows where she's gone, my brave boys. And there's nobody knows where she's gone. So it's over wild forest I rambled away, and through the green fields I did stray. I hollered, I whooped, I laid on my flute. Not a sweet pretty bird could I find, me brave boys. Not a sweet pretty bird could I find. So it's over wild forest I rambled away, and through the green paths I did stray. Oh, there did I spy my sweet pretty bird. She was close by the side of a man, me brave boys. She was close by the side of a man. Oh, now that he's got her, he's welcome to keep her, and do the best with her he can. But what he have her, and I have her not. I will hawk with her once now and then, me brave boys. I will hawk with her once now and then. Happy's the man that has a good wife. Much better is he that's got none. But bollocks to you that flirts with another's. When you have a good wife of your own, you brave boys. When you have a good wife of your own. When you have a good wife of your own, you brave boys. When you have a good wife of your own.
Just had a track from Norma Waterson and Eliza Carty from their album The Gift from a few years ago. That's a track called Little Grey Hawk, segueing rather neatly, I thought, from Colonel Elliot and the Lunatics' Cosmic Bust. Coming up... What the... Oh, it's alright, getting a heart attack. It's the bats. It's a delivery. Not very well trained, are they? You need to know how to use the door. Get out, get out. Shoo, always shoo. Okay, nothing to worry about. It's just the bat post. I'm having all my posts delivered by bat now, obviously. These are both a couple of letters, 2 letters here, both for the Lert advice and guidance line. Let's see what this one is. Let's open it up. Let's have a quick. Okay, and this one's from Deepest Wales, from a man called signs himself Tricycle Tom, who lives, as I say, in Wales, somewhere with lots of L's in it. He says, "Dear the Velvet Curtain. Now that the footy has been cancelled, I wonder if the government will consider my suggestion of starting up jousting again. It's the perfect alternative, as there are only 2 players at a time if you don't include the horses. Special lances can easily be made 2 metres long for social distancing purposes and could be easily adjustable like curtain rails for when the rules become more relaxed. What do you think? Tricycle Tom." And he's drawn a nice picture of himself up the top of a hill wearing a tea towel with eye holes cut out of it with a colander on top of his head, clearly for sort of protection. Yes, so, well, Tom, I think that's essentially a very, very good idea. I'm sure the government would be interested. My only concern would be the availability of suits of armour. Obviously, there is a certain level of injury and risk associated with jousting. However, in the absence of proper suits of armour, it's probably possible to knock some stuff up yourself, really. You know, as we say, colanders, saucepans, cardboard boxes, bin liners, that kind of thing. I'm sure that would be adequate. And there's plenty of availability in A&E at the moment because, of course, the pubs are closed. So, yes, I'll certainly pass it on to Boris next time I see him. Thanks for that excellent suggestion, Tom, from Wales. Okay, what we got here then? And this is from a Mrs. Joyce Gristle from Maidenhead. And she says, I regularly jog past a building site on my morning run. And now that the construction industry is opening up again, I am concerned that there are no clear guidelines for builders covering up exposed areas. Also, when they are shouting out lewd and inappropriate comments at passing joggers, should they be encouraged to do this into their elbows, as we are told to do when sneezing? There seems to be no clarity on this. I'm in full agreement with you on this one, Mrs. Gristle. Should builders be covering up exposed areas, particularly when facing members of the public? And yes, they should be encouraged to shout rude and inoffensive comments into their elbows, as we're encouraged to do when sneezing. And I'll be certainly raising this with the Prime Minister at the next COVID meeting. Thank you for that excellent question. And now on to the next record. It's Iron Man's least favourite song. And that was the classic This Corrosion from the Sisters of Mercy from 1987, or something like that. I haven't really researched it, I think so. Sounded a bit like a DJ then, didn't I? Now, is this the worst band in the world? You decide.
It's one thing to know it, but another to admit we're the worst band in the world, but we don't give up. If God will play guitar with Valentino on the drums, then we'll be nothing more than a bunch of Dharma bombs. So tune up, tune up. Well, we've never done a day's work in our life, and our record's selling zillions. It irrigates my heart with greed to know that you adore me, up yours, up mine, but up everybody's. That takes time, but we're working on it, working on it. Never seen the van, leave it to the roadies. Never met the roadies, leave them in the van. All because of circumstances way beyond control. We became the darlings of this thing called rock and roll. Ooh, here I am, a record on a jukebox, a little piece of plastic with a hole. Ooh, play me, Bobby, and you call me, and my plastic gets to go. Here we are together on your hi-fi, a little piece of plastic with a hole. Oh, save me, save me, save me, save me, save me, save me, save me.
It's got the news or chat, it's not entirely accurate. You're listening to the 25 o'clock show. The lights are on, but there's no one at home. The 25 o'clock show.
Well, clearly 10cc were never the worst band in the world, were they? In fact, they were really rather good. There's a band called The Feeling that agrees. Listen to them. Very similar. Also very, very good. Top pop stuff. However, we're going to have a bit of a change now. A bit of change in mood. It's getting relatively near the end, so I thought we'd listen to a bit of classical. This is the finale from Stravinsky's Firebird Suite. Gets me every time. Beautiful. No, thank you. No, you're too kind. No, stop. Calm yourselves down. Now, I did explain earlier that I would be demonstrating how to both go in and stay out at the same time. Or was it stay in and go out at the same time? One of those two. Anyway, using the mystical powers invested in me as Velvet Curtain, I will now, with the help of Lothar and the Hand People, show you how to do exactly that, using the power of astral travel. So if you can imagine me as a sort of Doctor Strange type character, except wearing a colander and a tea towel with eye holes cut in it. Lothar and the Hand People will explain all. I can only add that you've been a lovely audience and we'd like to take you home with us, but we can't for obvious reasons due to social distancing, etc. Stay alert, because Britain needs alert, ho ho ho. Actually, much better than that, stay completely safe and look after yourselves. Until the next time, I've been the Velvet Curtain. Take care.
Now, sit in a comfortable position, close your eyes, and listen very closely to the sound of my voice. Imagine that there is nothing but you and the sound, floating freely high above the earth. Now, as you listen, you will begin to relax. Every sound you hear relaxes you further. Just you and the sound. Your arms and legs feel heavy, very heavy, like lead. Every sound takes you deeper and deeper. Nothing can disturb you. Every muscle, every part of your body is relaxing further and further as you drift down deeper and deeper. You are floating away from the sound of my voice, but you can still hear it. Imagine you are riding down an escalator, slowly going down farther and farther into deep relaxation. It feels so good. Now, I'm going to count backwards from 5 to 0, and on every number you will go another level deeper, relaxing more completely on every count until I reach 0. On 0 you go twice as deep, backwards from 5 to 0, deeper on every count, and on 0 twice as deep. 5. So relaxed. 4. 3. 2. Down, down, down. 1. 0. Way down. Imagine that you are floating high above the earth, in deep space, looking out on the universe, floating free in space, uplifted and filled with awe, silently watching the movements of the stars. Standing on the moon, filled with thoughts of home, earth so slowly turning, 20,000 years, human hopes and fears. Are we finally learning? Riders together on a starship of stone, living together, trying together.
And the government has confirmed that golf courses are to reopen on the moon, but players are advised to moonwalk or cycle to each hole. Our scientific advisor, Apollo 17 astronaut and moon golfer, the late Alan Shepard, has also asked us to remind listeners that the moon has only 1/6 of the Earth's gravity, and players should be careful to avoid bumping into each other when attempting to retrieve stray golf balls that may be floating around.
So slowly turning, 20,000 years, human hopes and fears. Are we finally learning? Riders together on a starship of stone, living together, trying together.
And of course the same rules will apply to any of the numerous garden centres that have opened up on the moon. Always wear a space helmet, maintain at least 2 metres distance from yourself and any other life forms, and remember, in space no one can hear you sneeze. Next time on the 25 O'Clock Show, the man from Uncool returns with The Stinkers. Yes, it's the final countdown of the most annoying popular songs ever recorded, featuring excruciating earworms from hell that burrow into your mind and stay there until replaced with something even more annoying. Na na na, na 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 na. You just can't get that out of your head, boy. In fact, it's all that you ever think about until mana mana. Yes, I know it's evil woman, but it's for the good of the nation, and in the end it'll do you good. Always remember, I'm the man from Uncool, and everything I do it for you. That's the man from Uncool, The Stinkers, from the 25th of May, only on Radio Lewes.
Someone help me, help me, help me, please.